Earlier this year, I put a Corbin seat on my Rebel 1100, but I took it off after only about a week. It was only on in one of my videos, never to be seen again, which had lots of you asking where it went and why I took it off. And the truth is, after my experience with that seat, I plan to never put a Corbin seat on any of my bikes ever again until today. But only because I need to ship this thing out and finally get rid of it. Let's talk about it.
Perfect.
Welcome back to Life of Birch. This is Birch, and it's not stupid if it works, right? Today's the day we're finally getting rid of this frickin' Corbin seat, and I figured it would be a good time to address all of the questions, because I've had lots and lots of comments from you guys asking, what happened to the Corbin seat? Why don't you have it on anymore? So I'm going to kind of give you guys a rundown of my experience. And before everybody starts going to the comments telling me, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, I had a great experience with Corbin, I love my seat, that is totally fine. And I'm not saying that I didn't love Corbin before this experience, but the fact of the matter is I can eat at McDonald's 1,000 times without any issue, but if I get food poisoning on that 1,001th time, 1,001th, that's not English, then that kind of ruins the experience altogether. So with that said, leading into this, before this, I was a huge Corbin fanboy. I had a Corbin on my VFR 750 and I freaking loved it, and I swore that because of that I was going to put a Corbin seat on everything that I owned. Well, fast forward, one of the things that I own is the Rebel 1100, so I put a Corbin seat on it and did not have a great experience, so figured that I would share my experience with you guys right now. Alright, so let's start this story from the beginning, but you guys are going to have to hang with me for a sec because the story sounds like it starts out pretty decent, and it did. When I first got the seat, I loved it, but there's multiple parts of the story where I just progressively lost faith in Corbin more and more as things progressed. Alright, so starting at the beginning, I'll say that I didn't actually order this seat for myself. As much as I love Corbin, and I loved the Corbin seat on my VFR 750, when I saw the seats that they had coming out for the Rebel 1100, I just honestly was not a big fan of them. To put it bluntly, I thought they were freaking ugly. Well, fast forward, I have a Patreon member who reached out to me and he said, listen, I live in Norway and I really want to get the Corbin seat for my bike, but they don't ship outside of the US. Is it still hanging on? Yes. But they don't ship outside of the US, so like, is there a chance that I could order the seat, have it sent to your house? You can have it for a couple of months to test it out, do some reviews, and then once springtime hits here in Norway and the riding weather's good enough, I'll pay you to ship it to me. And I'm like, absolutely, that sounds like a win-win. If you're willing to pay for shipping to me and shipping to you, then let's freaking do it, you know? It's a win-win. So the seat shows up over winter, and then come springtime, I throw the seat on, and when I unbox the seat to put it on, I gotta be honest, like, it looked great. The craftsmanship was awesome. The quality was outstanding. So spirits are high. Everything's great. I'm stoked. I go to put the seat on, and, you know, as I expected, it doesn't look the best, but the most important part is how does it feel to me? How does it feel to my passenger? So that day, my girlfriend Nina and I hopped on the Rebel 1100, and we did about a 50 or 60 mile round trip from where we live down through southern Maryland, and you know, we're like, oh, this will be great, because normally after like 60 miles her butt's probably going to be hurting on the stock seat, but this is going to be great. It's going to be so good. And I gotta be honest, it was not. When I first sat on the seat, I loved it. It cupped me really well. I almost felt like I was sitting in the bike more than I was sitting on it, if that makes sense. And she sat down and she was like, yeah, I mean, it's nice, but she's like, I'm sitting up so high, it's just weird. My foot position is like different, and I don't know if I like the angle of how I'm sitting. And I'm like, all right, fair enough, you know, that makes sense. It's like, I don't know, like 6 freaking inches taller than the stock seat, so it's gonna take some getting used to. But she did have a good point. Because it's so much taller, it took up freaking half the sissy bar, so the sissy bar was pretty much unusable. Like, it rested like right on her butt instead of the small of her back, so she didn't have anything to lean on. So anyway, at that point we had kind of mixed reviews. I hated the way that it looked, but I loved the way that it felt. She wasn't a fan of the way that it looked, and she wasn't a fan of the way that it felt or the seating position that it put her in. But immediately as we started riding, that's when we both kind of realized, like, why do we have this on the bike? This is not great. Don't mean to leave you guys on a cliffhanger, but please hold while I take this in and get it sent to Norway.
12 seconds later.
And the package is safely on its way to Mr. Sindre in Norway. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Every time I say his name, I'm like, I hope I'm saying it right, because I don't know, like, the Norwegian accent, and I feel like Sindre feels like I'm saying it Spanish, so I don't know. Either way, it's on the way right now. Back to the story. So we're on our ride, and as soon as we start off, we're both just like, yeah, this is not great. So it was plenty comfortable for me. It was a little bit firm, but sometimes that's a good thing. And also Corbin says it takes about 2,000 miles for it to break into your butt. It did feel a little bit weird having her so high up though. Like she was so noticeably higher up that it almost felt like it threw off the balance of the bike. It's never really thrown me off having her on the back before, but with her like essentially towering over me, it definitely, like, I could notice a difference. It wasn't a big deal, but I could notice a difference. The main thing is that as we're riding, every time we came to a stop, she was like sliding into me more than usual, to the point that like the first time we had to slow down briskly, she slid into me and we clacked helmets, and we were both kind of like, what the hell? Like, why is this happening? You trying to knock me out? Are you good?
Yeah, can I read that?
Yeah.
I'm like leaving the seat more than I ever have. I didn't need to plan it.
Like over bumps, or you're sliding around?
Oh.
So we're going on our ride and we stop at the halfway point, which is the restaurant that we stopped at to get some food. So at that point we're like 25 or 30 miles in, and I kind of asked her how it was going, and she was like, I mean, honestly, I thought for 600 and something bucks I was gonna feel like I was sitting on a throne and it was gonna be so much better. And she's like, honestly, I think I prefer the stock seat. I don't know what's going on, but I am sliding all over the place. It's almost like the leather of this seat is too slippery. And she's like, so you know, my legs are kind of getting tired because I feel like I have to like pinch you with my legs so that I'm not sliding around, and even when I do that, I'm still sliding around clacking helmets with you. I'm kind of like pushed up on you. I can't even lean back. Like, it's back to feeling how it felt when we rode before the sissy bar, where she has to be up on me with her hands around my waist or whatever, as opposed to just being able to lean back and chill. She's like, it just feels sketchy. Like, I don't want to say I'm scared, but it feels way sketchier than the stock seat does, and it doesn't feel any more comfortable necessarily to make up for that. So we had our food and we headed back. Like I said, it was another like 20-30 miles back home, and we got home, and by the time that we got back, she was like, I was ready to give my butt a break. Like, I don't know, I wasn't expecting that. With the stock seat even, I feel like I'm not ready for a break that soon, but with the Corbin seat, I was ready for a break. So after that round trip ride, I was kind of on the fence, because while it was comfortable for me, it felt like the cons were already starting to outweigh the pros. But I'm like, all right, you know what, it takes some time to break in, so I'll keep riding this thing for another month or so before Sindre wants a seat sent to him, and I'll see how it goes. So I took it for another couple trips. One of them was like a longer trip with Toppy, which I made that video about, and that was like a decent length ride. We were out for several hours, and honestly, it was super comfy for me, and I was starting to get used to it. And I'm like, all right, you know what, I haven't had my saddlebags on this whole time. Why don't I put my saddlebags back on, and maybe that'll make it look better, because the saddlebags will hide how freaking massive the seat is. And that's kind of when things took a turn for the worse. My saddlebags are throw over bags, so I had to take the seat off in order to put the saddlebags on. And as soon as I took the, what in the hell, dude, get on the right side of the road. Anyway, as soon as I took the seat off to put the saddlebags on, I noticed a big issue, which was the fact that my bike was once again damaged by a 2-up seat. If you guys remember, I tried out that $400 no-name brand Thailand seat, and that seat scuffed my bike a little bit, but nothing to the effect of what the Corbin seat had done. Just like the other seat, the Corbin seat had also put a pretty serious scuff on the frame rail behind my seat, but this one was way worse than the Thailand seat. This one had actually like rubbed through it to the bare metal. Part of me is like, this is horse crap. Who spends almost $700 on a seat for it to be even worse than a $400 seat in terms of damage? But I'm like, all right, you know, whatever. Maybe it's just a design flaw with the Rebel, to where when you get a 2-up seat and it has to go over that rail, it's just hit or miss. You need to get something to cover it to be safe. But then I looked at the back and I noticed that there was a chip on my rear fender, literally all the way through the paint, all the way through the primer, straight down to bare metal. And it's right where they have like the little adjustment screws where you can adjust like where the seat mounts. And I'm like, dude, how do you not notice that that's an issue? Like, what the hell? The seat seemed like it had great craftsmanship, so how is it that it now rubbed my bike down to bare metal in 2 different spots? So needless to say, I was pissed. But I'm like, you know what, Corbin will take care of this way better than the eBay company did. You know, like the eBay company handled it all right. They refunded me some of the money, and they also offered to send me something to cover the frame rail so that it wouldn't scratch it in the future. So I'm like, you know what, like, whatever. I'm upset, but I'm sure Corbin will do something about it. But like I said, I wasn't the one who even bought the seat, so I had to reach out to Sindre and have him reach out to Corbin. So I sent him some photos and some videos of the damage. And listen, I had heard horror stories from my subscribers before about how terrible Corbin's customer service is, and I was like, nah, I refuse to believe it because this company's been around for so long. Like, there's no way they have bad customer service. But once I saw the customer service that they had, I mean, like, literally 5-year-olds have better customer service than they have. That's when I was just, like, almost offended that they would expect somebody to pay that much for a seat and then just not give two craps about them when something happens. But I will let the messages themselves do the talking to show you what kind of customer service they have. This looks like a nice, fancy neighborhood where I could pull over in this shade right here and read you guys some emails. Damn, man, I did not realize this bench was a memorial bench in loving memory of Justin Lloyd Helms, 96 to 21. This kid was 6 years younger than I am and passed away last year. That is so freaking sad, dude. Rest in peace, Justin. I'm not going to take your seat, but I will just crouch down right here and read you guys what happened. Alright, so Sindre sent the original email just kind of explaining what happened, saying that he bought the seat but had it sent to me, explained the whole situation, how it got damaged, all that kind of good stuff, and he said, could this be some sort of construction defect? I did not think that a saddle with that kind of price tag would need any sort of protection between the saddle and the bike. Hope we can get this sorted. Best regards. Now, along with that email, he included some pictures and videos that I had sent him, and he mentioned that in the email, and when Corbin responded, all they said was, hello, I am sorry to say I cannot view a video. Can you send me photos? So Sindre resent the pictures and the videos so that he had everything, to which they just didn't respond. He sent that on May 27th, and by June 3rd, he hadn't heard back, and he said, hey, did you get a chance to look into it? They responded that same day and said, no, if you are sending videos, my email will block them. Please send me a couple of photos. No videos, please. Like, bro, just say that the first time. So then he sends the pictures by themselves, and he said, did you get the pictures I sent now? To which Chris from Corbin responds yet again, there is no photo attached. Send one photo per email. What company only allows one picture to come through per email for one thing, but regardless, Sindre sent the photos one by one, to which he got no response, so he said, did you receive the pictures now? To which Corbin said, the only photo I saw was an up-close image of a fender with a bag strapped over it. There's not really any service that I can offer. What do you mean? You are the one that asked him to send the photos one by one, and then you're going to say that only one of them came through, but you can't even open it right, to where you say all I saw was a close-up, and instead of saying, can you resend them in such and such way, you just say there's no service you can offer? Like, who taught you customer service? Anyway, so Sindre resent the pictures, but he circled the damage in the photos, and said, I sent you some more pictures with the damage highlighted. Hope you received these. So you mean to tell me that a Corbin saddle made specifically for the Honda Rebel 1100 with the nifty price tag of $618 is meant to damage the bike it's made for? Valid. So before Corbin responds to that, Sindre sends another one. Hello, Christopher. I've seen on a Rebel 1100 group on Facebook that more people have had the same damage to the bikes by your saddles. Is this something you know of? I'll add a photo from the group. Is there anything you can do? So yeah, I forget if I mentioned that in the video already or not, but I'm not the only one that has had damage done to their bikes by a Corbin seat. There are a handful of other people who have had scuffs and dings and paint chip because of a Corbin seat on their Rebel 1100 as well, and I know for a fact that it's happened with all three of their seats. So anyway, Chris, the wonderful customer service rep from Corbin, responds, over the years I have mounted a lot of items on bikes and have taken off a lot of seats from all brands. Usually you will see wear marks from a saddle being mounted. I'm just not sure what you want me to do. The only photo I saw was an up-close view of the fender, and in the background a bag strapped over the fender. How does this guy, for one thing, not know how to be a customer service agent at all? And also, how is he not even understanding how to open friggin' pictures? Like, I have the screenshots of where you can see that the pictures were successfully attached. How are you only seeing one, and how do you not even know how to open it? So at this point, you know, if I were Sindre, I would have already been giving him a lot more attitude than he is, so hats off for Sindre for your patience. But he responded, I have tried to send you some pictures, 6 in total, of the 2 places it has damaged the bike. I will add one to this email as well. Wear marks is one thing, but this is straight up chipping paint away, and what I would like for you to do is help fix the damages your saddle had done to the bike, and for future saddles, maybe include a sign or a paper saying to put something in between the saddle and the bike to prevent damage. To which our wonderful Chris responded, I cannot do any service with what has occurred. Perhaps the bag strap changed the angle of the tail of the seat and the rear tab. From there it contacted your fender. You can get some touch-up paint or place something in between your fender and the tail of the saddle. Ride safe. Like, what? For one thing, you're saying that you couldn't even see the pictures, but now you're saying, oh, I can see the bags enough to know that maybe it changed the angle, without even asking if the seat was on with the bags on. The Corbin seat was never on my bike when the saddlebags were. I did not put them on until after I saw the damage. And even if they were, you would think that it would raise it further away from the fender and prevent damage, if anything. But it's just like, dude, you guys make a $700 seat for this bike that is supposed to fit it perfectly, and you mean to tell me that you just don't give a shit enough that you're like, nothing I can do, go yourself. Maybe you should buy some touch-up paint and put something in between our seat and your bike next time. And that's where things end off. So after that, Sindre reached out to me and was like, listen, dude, this guy obviously does not give a shit about me whatsoever. He said it nicer than that, but he said, you know, they're obviously not going to do anything. Just send me the seat, and I guess I'll know to put friggin' something all over my fender and all over my frame rail to protect my bike from this friggin' seat that I bought. The quality control issue is one thing, but the customer service is a whole other. I don't even think we got an apology a single time. He just said, buy some touch-up paint, and I can't see the pictures. Go f*** yourself, essentially. So to say that I'm disappointed is an understatement, and I am still searching for just a quality 2-up seat for this thing because it doesn't seem like we have any other options out there. And maybe that's why Corbin acts that way, because they know that they have a chokehold on the friggin' seat market for Rebel 1100s. I don't know. Either way, I didn't want to leave you guys in the dark about the situation. I wanted to give you guys a heads up and finally give you an explanation as to why a few months ago you saw a Corbin seat on my bike and it has never been on it again and will never be on it again. Shop carefully if you do choose to get a Corbin seat. Make sure you protect your bike. Honestly, it's not the most uncomfortable thing in the world for one rider, but if you're looking for a 2-up solution, it's probably not the best because Nina didn't love it, and for that price tag, you know, I don't know. I'm rambling on. You guys get it. You've heard the whole story. Make your own conclusions. I'm sure the comments are going to be lighting me up by just middle-aged dudes. Yeah, man, I've been riding Corbin for years and you don't know what you're talking about. I don't care. Just sharing my experience. That's going to do it for this one. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much to the Patreon members just like Sindre who make all of this possible, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Love you guys. Peace.
Oh, so basic. Hope you play this. Damn, I prayed it. Nice song, and I became this. Old souls fake it. Pay those placements. Fuck shit. And I'm still waiting on the brighter days. Been a minute, been rough many times more. And I'm kicking rocks to a sky of gray. Praying hard, talk to me before I'm done for.